BSide Project is a collaborative remix contest which started in Cambridge in 2009 with the goal of partnering electronic producers with artists they might not usually get to work with. Traditional music boundaries are thrown out the window to give way to raw creativity. In its last phase, B-Side took entrants from 18 countries in a multitude of musical styles. The award ceremony for the 2015-16 contest took place in London's Metropolis Studios, and entrants were judged by renowned DJ and producer Ronnie Size. B-Side founder Yvette Chivers joined us to discuss all manner of things, from the importance of remixes and what makes a good one to the treatment of women in the electronic music industry. So Yvette, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us. I guess the best place to start would be if you want to tell us a bit about your background in music, how you're getting into production and stuff prior to B-Side Project.
Yeah, it was all from my dad's influence, really. I started collecting Motown and soul records when I was about 15, 16. I probably just stole them from him, actually. Collecting is probably the wrong word. But going into uni and things like that, it was just about going into the record shops, the charity shops, and just loved playing music. I still have the Philips flat pack. It's probably older than I am. It's got the vinyl player, it's got the tape deck and the radio, and that's what I used to play these things on. Yeah, I got it from a charity shop as well. Nice. It's been with me everywhere. And so from that, I just love of music anyway, and almost the love of bass lines from that point, because of course Motown's got such a chunky bass. And then through my 20s, like going on from there, really it was just social life. Yeah. Like I just loved going out and loved being in the essence of music, both live gigs and clubs. But when I used to go out, I remember my friends, before I even considered DJing or anything in electronic music, I used to be able to hear a long time before the next track came in at a club what that track would be or what it should be. It's almost like I had this inbuilt kind of
sort of an instinct
ability, and just loved it, you know. And I kind of
cool.
My friends always used to say you should be a DJ, but it was never a consideration at all. It was just like, oh yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's where it all started really. And I don't know whether it's got anything to do with the fact that I've got crappy eyesight as well. I've got this degenerative eye condition. But my ears and my kind of ability to hear sounds
might be
seems more astute. I remember in Cambridge I was kind of helping bands get a few gigs around about that time when there was venues to play in Cambridge. Yeah, I bet that's another one of your chats, isn't it? Yeah, lack of venues, lack of support. But you know, and then I started DJing by mistake. Because I collected all these records. Someone that I saw DJing out, we came up with an idea from Motown and Funk Night. Because I collected these records, he assumed I DJ'd. And I got there to the night and he said, where are your records? And I was like, I don't DJ. I don't DJ. And he was like, well, you better get some records because there's only enough, you know, you've got to play. And my dad came running down with said records. And that was my first baptism of fire. I mean, of course, you don't crossfade. I mean, you don't need to beat match in those situations. You just crossfade with Motown. But it's I had to ask the sound engineer, what is that and what is that, and the decks. I had no idea. You know, it's a flat pack to me at that point.
Wow,
you know.
Right in at the deep end.
From that, I thought, how do I get an audience of band fans and live music fans in the same room as electronic and club music fans? Because you know, it just seemed. I was in the two packs. You know, and I wanted kind of my friends to be in both and appreciate both. And that's what's led into the B-Side Project.
So let's talk a bit about B-Side Project. What are the goals and how can people get involved, and what kind of people do you want to get involved?
It's grown just unbelievably. I started it in 2009 as just this idea from how do I get the people from different kind of packs, different groups of music into one room. And that was before the whole remix culture had come to fruition, really. It's now really out there. Remixes are just a part of music culture, but back then it wasn't so much of a thing to run a contest, and especially an annual one. The goals essentially were to get the musicians and the live artists the promotion that they would gain from having a remix in a completely different audience. So a completely different fan base. Because if you like music, you know, everyone's got their genre that they prefer, but if you really appreciate music, you'll appreciate anything. It's about the production and about how it's made. Which is what I've learned on the job now. You know, like I have my loves. I still love my Motown, my funk. Absolutely adore breakbeat and drum and bass and the electronic side of things, but I'll hear something, I'll now appreciate the actual production, what's gone behind making it, rather than, you know, kind of cussing it too much based on what it sounds like. So it's that platform for the original artist to be, you know, promoted to a whole another level of music listeners.
Yeah.
And the same for the producer. The electronic producer will be put out there to the original artist fans. It's about sharing fan base,
Yeah.
sharing experiences, but also very individually for the artists and producers. It's allowing someone else to kind of muck around with their work.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the artist, for the original artist, it's about coming out of everyone's comfort zones are broken.
Yeah.
So that was the whole objective, really.
A lot of artists I've found it can be a bit sort of prissy
Precious.
about
Yeah.
precious. They don't want their masterwork tampered with.
Which is fair enough, but it's about allowing your creativity to be discovered in other ways.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get a wider fan base and a wider audience reach. You know, you have to be open to that. And for producers to work with something that they don't get to choose to work with, because the whole point of the B-side is random.
Right. Yeah. So you get what you're given.
You get what you're given.
Interesting.
I think this is why what takes B-side out of the realm of the other remix contests that go on. You'll now get a DJ or producer saying, "Here's my track, remix it, everyone."
Yeah.
And because they're famous, everyone wants to remix it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whereas with this one, it's unsigned artists get paired randomly with unsigned producers from somewhere else in the world, and we do it randomly. We don't listen to the tracks. We know there's quality control there, but we don't listen to the tracks because otherwise we would be conditioned to think, "Oh, that would go nicely with that."
Yeah,
I know I would.
yeah.
So we don't listen to them as they come in, and they get paid randomly. A folk artist from Texas will get a hard techno producer from Berlin.
Does it work?
It does work.
Yeah,
it
brilliant.
does work. It's the luck of it. I mean, some are easier to remix,
Sure, yeah.
But it's about, again, the judges know it's not to their taste that they've got to be judging it. It's based on arrangement, innovation, and imagination as well. So they'll know that if you've got this like hardcore punk kind of track that's been remixed into like dubstep, and they'll know that how hard it's been for the producer. So the harder it is, the more kind of points you'll get.
How can people get involved with the next phase of?
It's just about going onto the website. Over the years, it's been very grassroots promotional growth. But since Prism Sound picked up on it last year and are now the main sponsors, they've obviously helped us get into the music industry. Yeah. It's got more kudos now within the music industry. It's now getting out there much more on social media. So the social media is the Twitter at BSide Project. Yeah. Facebook, it's facebook.com/BSide Project HQ.
Cool, yeah.
And then the website is just b-sideproject.org.
Wicked.
And on there you can register for updates, and the next phase opens this summer. So and every year it will be summer to December.
Back in 2009 there was much less. The remix thing hadn't really taken off. How would you say the market is now? Would you say we're at a point of almost saturation with producers and electronic music?
I mean, electronic music has always been there. Of course, I think it's become a lot more commercial now.
Sure.
But then you're saying that, in the 90s we had Prodigy, we had Opus 3, we had all of those were in the charts.
Absolutely.
So actually I don't think it's changed much. Daft Punk were out like 20 years ago. Chemical Brothers.
Yeah.
They were all there. So I think in terms of getting saturated, I don't think it can. There's just not enough air for music to fit. There's too much air. There's not enough air. There's not enough air?
It's not the right amount of air.
It's not the right amount of air. There's always going to be enough air for music to fill, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the remixing it's so accessible now, which isn't a bad thing. Yeah. Before, back in the day, 2009, pre that, it was your known producers that were remixing known artists.
Yeah.
Like Ronnie Size, when he did his interview for us for when he became a judge, he's remixed Air, people like that. So you had the high kind of end musicians and producers remixing each other. Yeah. But now, just as it is for live musicians, you can create a whole live stage sounding track in your bedroom.
Yeah.
With the guitars, the drums, the bass, guitar, everything you want there, the vocals, the keyboards, and it's the same for electronic music production. So the accessibility is there, so therefore everyone's on it. I just don't think it will ever get saturated. It just means that, maybe quality is different. You've got there's not as many good. There's a lot of not so good ones out there, but I just don't think it will ever go away. It will keep on growing.
Is there any advice you can give to electronic music producers or DJs or remixers to try and stand out?
Same as gigging musicians and live musicians or bands or whatever. Because gone is a day where we had what was that one that was MySpace.
Oh yeah.
You know, and the Arctic Monkeys, you know, they're big, well known for being kind of, they promoted themselves from MySpace, and that's how they did it. First to use social media to do that. And now it is so saturated, but you know, people will find music they like, and it's about, as with the live music scene, it's about touring now. So as a DJ, as a DJ, you used to be able to earn a lot of money from just DJing other people's tracks, but now you need to produce to then be DJing your own music or other people's music on the label you're on tour, sort of thing. So a good example there is Hospital Records. They do it very well when they take their hospitality events around the country. But it's about that's where you get the that's where you earn your money now. But to stand out, if you don't love it, there's no point in doing it.
Sure.
You know, it's about doing it for yourself and for, you know, making yourself happy and an expression of your own music rather than the fame and fortune.
Sure.
And if you do that, and if you keep on at it, it sounds so cheesy, but something might happen. That's what I've done with B-Sides. Seriously, it was my bane of my life and the love of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, oh, it's brilliant now that it's being sponsored, because it's still hard work, but you've got to keep at it.
Yeah.
You know, because you know it's going to work in your heart, and it just, you know, if it makes you happy, then carry on. A lot of people are very fake and very forced about it. They'll go to music networking events and they'll try and plug themselves too much, and it comes across so badly.
Yeah.
So just being true to yourself about it is the way to actually be different.
So staying genuine to what it is you want to do.
Yeah.
I think the Gaga thing's interesting because it seems quite forced quirkiness.
I can't say it hasn't worked, but there's a lot of people that are copying her though because of that. You can only be one of those kind of things. And Daft Punk, for example, they've done it very, very, very well. If you watched their documentary recently, the new one that's out, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
And the way that they started wearing the helmets, the robot heads, and you think, oh god, they're doing it because to be quirky. You wouldn't recognise them if they walked down the street. They've got their own lives going on. They're doing it purely for the music, and yes, they may be unbookable, and their fees, you know, for Coachella were just incredible amounts of money, but they put it all into the production. They don't keep it. They do it all for the music. They do it all for the production and all for the audience. You know, and what they feel out of it as well. And that's a really good example of how to be, you know, make it, because you're making it for yourself and what you can put back into it.
Yeah, and it is interesting the way you say the costume comes across as kind of
being a bit kind of distant, being a bit like kind of, you know,
but
untouchable.
The anonymity is actually really quite.
That's why they did it, you know. Like there's early videos of them. You can see what they look like then when they were kind of first. And they started as a band.
Yeah.
You know, they started as a live band, and then they kind of, you see in a lot of their music actually you can hear the live aspects in there.
Sure, yeah.
And the songwriting and stuff. But it's just the most incredible story to watch that documentary. So I highly recommend it.
I'll have to track that one down. Yeah. So what elements can go into making a really great remix?
Okay, this is obviously my own opinion, obviously.
Sure, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously vocal led is really good. I mean, you get... When we were doing the shortlisting for the latest phase, I was explaining to the team that I'm working with that it's different styles of dance music have different styles of remix. So, like house and tech house will very often just take vocal cuts and chop them up. So it just sounds like a sample rather than a remix.
Right, yeah.
So a lot of people be like, this isn't a remix. It's only got a little bit of a tiny bit of a vocal in there, and even that's chopped up. But that's the way that tech house and house remixes go.
Yeah.
Drum and bass, you know, you might have aspects of the full track in there, because the bass line of a track will go very well with kind of the rolling bass line in a drum bass track.
Yeah.
So different types of electronic music will have their own remix sound as well, and remix kind of structure. So that's interesting to know and to find out, because I've obviously been learning as I go along too, you know, finding out these different things. But vocal led's obviously good, and just the live essence. So in terms of my own remixes, piano's key. Any live sounds, again, it comes from the Motown, like the brass section.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, and just it's just about pulling out the right elements. And there's one amazing track, and I will say who it is. It's a original track called Barcelona by Adriano. She's in America. Really pop sounding track, really uplifting sounding track. And then her producer remixed it into kind of like almost dubsteppy kind of house.
Okay, right.
But the weird thing is that in the original track, it sounds uplifting. In the remix, you actually listen to the vocals, and the vocals are really dark.
Okay.
So it's actually bringing out a different element,
different
and
side of the song.
Different listening experience.
Okay.
And both tracks are amazing in their own right.
Yeah.
You know, and you can tell how the producer has used, as well as the vocals, a lot of the elements of the track as well, and actually kept to the structure. So the verse and the chorus, the breakdowns and the build-ups, but the actual essence and the kind of ethos of the songs changed completely.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
You probably won't want to name drop for this one.
Right.
Are there any mistakes or things that you really hate that happen in remixes time after time?
Obviously, again, it's to everyone's creative development to do what they want with the remix, but I think you've got to stay true to the original track.
Okay.
If it's completely different, you're probably using a track you already had before. We have a rule that you have to use at least 2 of the stems.
Okay,
so we try and do that, but keep the essence of the original track in there, because that's what a remix is all about. It's like a re-edit as well. You're not doing a completely new track. If we were calling it the vocal or the sample side project, fair enough. But again, like I said, in tech house and house, it's different. But you're still keeping the essence of the track there, and we want people to hear it and recognise, oh, that's come from that, once they listen to both. Kind of being a bit too ownership of the remix.
Right, yeah.
If that's even makes any sense in English, it's not your track, it's the original artist, and just kind of to be aware of that, to be mindful.
So I guess being respectful of...
Yeah.
Let's talk gear, software, hardware or controllers you're really fond of.
Oh, it's so hard for me to actually admit, because I'm a vinyl player and I've got my 1210s at home. I've got 5 decks at home, 2 1210s, 2 Subtronics and a Stanton USB drive. So like I could do a really nice kind of scratching set on those. 2 mixes at home, all old school. So it's really hard for me to admit that I go out with a controller now. Right, and a USB stick, it's just disgusting. It's like, it goes against my whole beliefs really. But I bought a Reloop controller the other day. And this, again, I can't believe I'm doing this, or missing it. But it links to an app called DJ2 by Algorithm on the iPad. And it's just the neatest thing. I mean, I use the iPad for practicing, and for putting a set together and putting it in key and things like that. But now with this controller, just plug it into the sound system in whatever venue you're at, and you've got your DJ set up there, which is, and you've got these things now where a thing called stems, where you can actually remix live.
Is that the native instrument stem?
Literally live remixing. You can do it with Ableton as well. I love Ableton, so I'm about to get the Ableton Push, which is the kind of the push tablet controller thingy. You can tell I'm still old school. It's like but all of that, and Ableton Live with it, and I think that's brilliant, because with that, I want to now be able to just take samples from all the records that I've got, obviously with permission. It's very important. People have tried to persuade me to get into Logic, but I'm not a Mac fan. So again, it's depending if you're a Mac or a PC. It's amazing how much difference it makes. But then in terms of studio, I think I've learned so much by working with Prism Sound. Of course, Prism Sound do the kind of high-end interfaces. I'm going to put it that way. Really expensive sound cards. For that's what I kind of understand it as, and converters, and literally knowing now how much difference it makes to musicians and to producers. It's incredible. Setting up your studio right with the right acoustics. People like Gig Acoustics do that, and then the right microphones. The technicalities and the actual science behind it all is incredible, and
it's scary.
I've been on tour now with Prism Sound with their mic to monitor educational seminars. They're going around the country, and in America last year, and they're going worldwide this year. Just mind blowing.
Wow.
What the actual, and with people like PMC monitors, Adam Audio monitors, all have been really supportive of the BSide project. It's not just a speaker, it's just mind blowing. I could go on. I could go on, because I'm just so amazed by it all. It's just incredible. It's music. Then once you get into that level of it, becomes all absorbing.
Absolutely.
Which is great. I don't mind that.
So there's been a lot of talk recently in the music industry about women being discriminated against, and I was going to say rightly so. It's right that we're talking about. It's obviously not right then. Good save. I was wondering if, in your experience, this is more or less of a problem in electronic music.
I've always found it to be helpful, especially because I started about 10 years ago, more actually, when on the ground level there wasn't hardly any female DJs. Obviously at the time you had Lisa Lashes, just people that you knew about, and they actually could DJ. You had those, but it was all like very top level stuff. And actually that was my unique selling point ever. And I've played in some amazing places like Berlin, festivals all over the place. Never done a demo mix. My excuse is because my, you know, I play different music to different crowds. You know, my music choices change week by week, but actually the truth is that I've never been technical enough to actually record one. So, you know, and I'll admit that. It's just, you know, it's just one of those things, but in a way it's almost like people want to not see you fail, but like, okay, go on then. So yeah, that I always found was a bit of a bonus actually. And because I've never been the one to kind of promote the fact that I am female whilst I'm doing it. It's just about the fact that I love it and I love the music. It comes across well. It's again being true to yourself. Whereas the discrimination, I think, or the bad vibes, or the bad kind of anything that comes from women in electronic music is when people like Paris Hilton try and DJ and stuff like that. You know, you know, and this is probably me being a bit too like kind of honest about my thoughts, but basically models DJing just it gives us women in electronic music a bad name because it's not proper.
Because it's not going to be done well. Because
no, just learn it and enjoy it and not be out there with your boobs out. You know, it's just silly. I mean, you know, and then yet you'll get a lot of electronic music females kind of almost looking at or coming across as a bit laddish or boyish or whatever. I don't know. It's strange. It's strange. There's a fine balance there, you know. But I think two inspiring ladies that I know. Estelle Rubio, she's a musician and also a producer. She is so techie, it's unbelievable. She did a panel talk with me at BPM, which is the DJ Production Expo in NEC every year. And the talk was about the differences or the positives and negatives between analog and digital synthesizers.
Right, okay, yeah.
Honestly, this girl knows so much. It was unbelievable. And then another, you know, inspiring lady is Crystal Rocks. She's a DJ and producer. She's based in London, and she started a female DJ and production academy in London.
Wow, cool.
Which is just amazing, and her label's called Super Fox, and they tour around the world. So,
wicked.
Yeah, you know, she's bringing up the next kind of generation of female musicians. But the whole point is not to say we're female or male. It's just if you like it or not, if you're good at it or not.
Yeah.
You know, people like to almost kind of come away from the whole labelling it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's you know it's almost highlight it and then move from it. And the MPG Awards this year, the Music Producer Guild Awards, they highlighted it as saying that, you know, women need to be encouraged more. I think this year we didn't have any female producers enter the BSide Project.
Okay,
and in the past 6 years we've had 2.
Wow.
I'm not joking. So obviously I want to encourage it without coming across that I'm a feminist, because I think everyone's a feminist in their own way. They want women to do well as well as men, but yeah, obviously it's something that I want to promote, which is why we've got 2 female judges on our panel. And you know, in the MPG Awards, it was a number of the award winners were female. Wow. You know, in terms of you know, mastering, not just being a musician, but the back end, the studio work, the mastering, the really kind of high end production. So yeah, I mean, Mandy Parnell, she's a mastering engineer who runs her own studio. And then at the MPG Awards this year, we had Catherine Marks winning Breakthrough Engineer of the Year.
Wow.
So, you know, a lot of people wouldn't even consider that a lot of women would get into the engineering side of things. You know, so it's getting there, but it's just about whether that individual is dedicated enough to be good at it, not whether you're a male or a female.
Yeah. So about the craft rather.
Yeah, but like I said, you know, really, I think the where the girls get the knocks is where you know, it's just done for show. Yeah. You know, and it's the whole, you know, kind of spring break type look and feel about it.
Right, you
know, bore off.
Fab. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate what you've had to say.
Thank you.
Cool.
There are not so many ways that we can